Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Thank you for listening and watching to our latest episode of our first season of West Coast XC. I'm Ken Martinez, and in this episode, we're going to recap what happened at the University of Washington last weekend with the Mile City races and the University of Washington preview. Then later, we'll talk to the founders of Wildwood Running. We'll talk to Marie and Robyn about their wonderful program they have going there. Please take time to subscribe to this YouTube channel, or if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcast, if you could follow us, that would be wonderful. It'd be really helpful. This weekend, we went up to Seattle for the first of 3 different races that the University of Washington hosts at the Dempsey Indoor Facility. And here are some of the top highlights of the distance events. In the 600 meters, that's kind of like tricky, right? 600 meters, is that a distance event? But I'm going to call it a distance event. We had Robyn Willis of Stanford winning at a time of 1:25.74. That was the second fastest indoor collegiate time of all time. That's pretty impressive. You have to remember this probably is the first, track meet of the season for many of these athletes. Chase Walter of Cal Poly SLO won the 600-meter race in a world-leading time of 1:16.14. And also, we should note that the second-place finisher was Bodie Liggins, who last year competed for Cathedral in California. Go Phantoms. He ran 1:16.48, which was a new Washington school record for a freshman, which is very impressive. Then moving up to the 800 is Claire Yerby, who was earlier at California and is now at Washington. She ran the 9th fastest 800-meter time in school history at the University of Washington at 2:06.45 for the win. Kyle Reinhammer of Washington won the 800, and he also transferred, and he is running his first race for Washington, ran 1:46.45, which is a school record at Washington. And in second came his teammate, another transfer, Justin Toole, came in second at 1:46.59, which puts him at number 3 all-time at the University of Washington. So people running fast times early in the season. We're talking, middle of January. That's amazing. Later in that evening on Saturday was the 3,000. Melissa Tanaka, who ran for Stanford, won it in 9:05.28. Sophia Rodriguez of Mercer Island High School ran the fastest 3,000-meter indoor time in this young season. And also in the men's 3,000, Thomas Boyd of Stanford won in a time of 7:41. His teammate Cole Sprout finished second at 7:45.24. Those times are 7th and 8th right now on the NCAA indoor list as they're trying to get times to run the NCAA indoor championships. A couple of notes in one of the earlier heats was Tavon Kitchen of Crater won his heat in the 3,000 at a time of 8:02.02. which is the 5th fastest indoor high school 3,000 time in history. Owen Powell was also in that race from Mercer Island. He ran 8:04.83, which makes him the 6th fastest time in the indoor 3,000. If you don't know, Owen Powell's parents are the head coaches there at the University of Washington. And then the next day was what's called Mile City, and that's where there were almost 50 heats of miles, of all kinds of ability, and obviously a very high ability like Gabija Galvaladite, who used to run for Oklahoma State, now is new at Bowerman, won the Mile City in a time of 4:27.96. In high school news, Chloe Heiler of Lake Ridge out here in Oregon ran 4:46.83, and that's the number 1 high school time of the season. And Sophia's sister, Victoria Rodriguez of Mercer Island, ran 4:49.61 for the 3rd fastest time of this young season. And then in the men's mile, Nathan Green of Washington led 9 different Huskies. He was one of 9 Huskies to break the 4-minute barrier. A couple of years ago, they had 8 Huskies do it in one meet. This time they had 9. And he ran 3:50.74, which is now the school record at Washington and a facility record. And Josiah Tostenson of Crater did not break 4 minutes, but he ran 4:03, which is pretty darn fast. And that makes him the fastest high schooler indoor miler so far of this season. And his teammate Tavon Kitchen, we mentioned earlier in the 3,000, ran 4:04, and he has the second fastest time in this early part of the season. But all those times should really stand up. Those are outstanding times by all those athletes. I was able to get there by just the second heat of the 800, of the men's 800. So we have pictures up on westcoastxc.com of all the 3,000 meter heats from Friday night and a couple of 800 meter heats. And then you'll also see in another link 4 different mile links. We have invitational miles and the other heats of the Mile City. So you can go on our website, or you can go on our Instagram and go to our bio, West Coast XC, and look at those photos, download them. Make sure you give us a follow in our Instagram account too. Well, we're happy to have the founders of Wildwood Running here, Robyn McGillis and Marie Davis Markham. Welcome, Robyn and Marie.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Oh, you're welcome. Robyn and Marie have been gracious to have me at their camps and also on their group runs, which is, I've been able to see their wonderful work. And you guys had a birthday over the weekend, your 5th anniversary. Is that correct?
Yeah, we did. Unfortunately, we were in different parts of the country, but we cheersed each other from afar and celebrated the work we've been doing. It's fun. 5 years.
5 years. So I'm doing my math. That is like maybe a month or two before COVID.
Exactly. We kind of had this idea, and Robyn and we were at Jay Johnson's Boulder running clinics, and you know how like people just chat and want to like, what else can we do? And kind of this idea popped into our head, and we happened to be driving to the airport together and switched numbers. And then like the next week, I think you might have texted me, Robyn. She's like, should we do this? And we started this idea, and then a month later COVID hit. So we had to do a lot of pivoting.
I actually remember that now. I think about it. I went to a clinic, kind of an unusual clinic at somebody's house in December, and you guys talked.
Yes.
Right.
The Just Athletics Clinic.
Correct.
Yes.
In December. And then I was at the Boulder Clinic in February.
Yeah.
And so I wasn't aware what was happening, but I was near you guys when that happened. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. We know at that clinic, we just realized that there was a lot of people were asking questions about how to support their female athletes. And we thought, maybe there's a space for that, because we had the same questions that they had. And there was information coming out at the time. There just we hadn't seen it highlighted or featured anywhere.
That's my first question is, for the listeners and viewers that are not familiar with Wildwood Running, what is your mission, and what is Wildwood Running?
Yeah, so we're really focused on supporting the female-bodied runner and the coaches that support her, to build a long and happy relationship with running, but really do that in the form of education. So to guide, to support, and to educate, provide like tools and tips from the best people out there. But then along comes with that is community, and building just a really strong community of people who want to support one another.
Yeah. So most of our content, is delivered through, we have kind of like sort of pillar events that we do every year that have organically kind of come about over the last 5 years. We started with just a coaches clinic, but now it's evolved into a coaches clinic in Portland in December, a coach and athlete clinic in Naperville in July. And then we have our camp, our overnight camp in Vernonia in June, which is now going to be 2 weeks worth of camp. And then we've kept the virtual option. We in addition to the virtual coaches camp or coaches clinic that we started 5 years ago, we also did a virtual athlete camp. And even though we've moved to mostly in person at this point, we've kept that virtual option so we can have opportunities for people that can't make it to our in-person event.
And can you tell me a little bit about what's your role in running? Like, how did you get into running, or do you coach? And how did Wildwood Running come from? Obviously, you love the sports. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I'll go first. I started running at a very young age. I started running when I was 8 years old. We lived coincidentally like 3 blocks from Wildwood Trail. And I used to see my parents just go out for runs and jogs. They weren't like competitive runners or anything. I mean, they ran marathons and stuff, but running was just a space that was kind of, I mean, you saw a lot of people in Portland, Oregon, like enjoying this world of running, right? And so I just enjoyed running, and then I was decently good at it for a while. And I remember, I had won quite a few like national junior Olympic titles. And I tell this story a lot in a lot of our clinics, but I remember as I was winning this, hearing messages like, oh, just wait until she grows. And I kind of wondered, like, what does that mean? Like, what's going to happen to me when I grow? And at the same time, a counterpart of mine by the name of Billy Harper was having equal amount of success. And people were saying, just wait until he grows. And it was just this idea like, well, why is it going to be greater when he grows than when I grow? And I had no understanding of that. But luckily, I had some like awesome people in the sport. My coach, Alex Wright, was my coach through high school, Bob Williams, Tom Heinen at Oregon. And I was able to improve every year. I was able to get a period and maintain it. I had 2 injuries in my lifetime, both plantar fasciitis, no like bone stress injuries. And I feel like I didn't realize how lucky I was to have all these people in place to really honor and push me to be even a competitive runner after college. And so for me, that got me a while later into coaching, and I decided to start coaching at my alma mater at Lincoln High School. And I've been there now for, I don't know, 7 or 8 years. And just being a woman coach in a very male dominated coaching world, I found Robyn, and we gravitated towards each other. We knew each other casually, and we became really good friends because of kind of seeing, oh, there's another woman out here. I'm going to go chat with her.
Yeah, and my journey in running, and kind of similar to Marie, I started at a really young age. I'm from Modesto, California, and I ran on the Modesto City Thunderbolts was my youth team that I was on. I threw javelin and ran the 1500. So I have a cool combo.
Yeah.
But yeah, I ran in high school, and then I ended up I was sorry. I hadn't planned to run in college, but I decided to go to the University of San Diego, UCSD, and I was able to walk on the team as a Division III team, and just found a great community and felt really lucky that I was able to continue in a sport that had meant a lot to me through my younger years, and that and that reinforces the idea for me, I think, even now, that there's a place for everybody in the sport, regardless of like whether you're D1, D2, D3, or going to run at the community level or just do half marathons with friends, which I think a lot of our messaging is around us wanting to teach and show girls that they can continue in the sport a lifelong journey. And then so I've been at Central Catholic as a coach for the last, this is my 11th year. I've been the head coach for the past 9 years, and just to actually step down as head coach this year. I'm helping to kind of groom and bring up the next head coach for cross country, Madison. She takes over next year. Sorry if is that dinging? Can you hear that each time? But I'll continue to be kind of the head or the lead in the track for the track season. And I just, I feel super lucky that I had people around me, both from a coaching standpoint and in the Portland community, that supported me in the sport, and that my family also supported my journey as a coach in the sport. I think when I started as an assistant coach, sorry, is that dinging annoying?
No, it's fine. Go for it.
Okay. As I started as an assistant coach at Central Catholic, the girls had never been to the state meet as a team, and they approached me after my first year and said, Robyn, we think we can be challenged more, pushed more, and we want to try and go after, qualifying as a team. And I think that the girls at that point just hadn't had a consistent presence in their lives, pushing them and challenging them. And I come from an HR background, so kind of leadership and developing teams was sort of in my wheelhouse. So I'm like, oh, this is a perfect combination of running and also developing culture and strong team management and leadership. So I've just feel really lucky that I have found a place for both of those. So that's my, my passion, I think, as a coach has always been in developing young women into leaders and amazing human beings. And it just kind of married well with, like, I think Marie's background as a teacher has lent well to the Wildwood mission, in that she's able to, like, bring things to life in all of our events because of her viewpoint as a teacher. And then, all of our different experiences, both as athletes, our professional lives, and then I think the communities we've each had surrounding us and our growth through the sport has kind of led us to this point.
When you guys are at meets, coaches come up to you and like want to pick your brain and ask you questions?
Well, Marie was just in Boulder, and she said she had a lineup.
Wow. Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks. No, it was awesome. We spoke last year there, and so there were just like, I don't know, it's so heartfelt, right? There were people who came up to me and they were like, "Your presentation last year changed the trajectory of our girls program." N- we're having conversations with girls that we never thought we would have, and they're happier and they're performing better. And it's just like, yeah, I mean, that makes sense. Like, happy, healthy girls are going to run really well, and you're going to have a great team culture. So that felt good. But yeah, parents pick our brains, other coaches and stuff. It's super fun, but we don't always have the answers, which is fun too, to be like, well, let me get back to you. Or like, yeah, this is something I need to think about. I just can't believe how much I've learned since we've started Wildwood. I had no idea as to like what information I would be able to absorb just by listening and talking to people. It's fascinating.
Well, I want to ask you about this weekend. You're having, which I think was a virtual workshop this weekend with the Whitaker sisters. And they had a fantastic Olympic trials. I sat kind of where the steeplechase was at Hayward Field, and I sat near Juliet's dad when she made the 800.
Oh, cool. That's
Yeah,
cool.
it was kind of a wild moment because that's not too far from where Ajay fell down, so that was kind of like stunning. And we were like, what happened? And then, anyway, so it was just but it's just so fun to be next to a parent that's super excited. And then your sister made it too. What's going on this weekend?
Well, we're having our virtual, we're calling it a workshop. And again, it's sort of been an evolution of an event. We've tried to have some sort of virtual component every year. And this is our virtual athlete workshop. It's going to be 3 hours from 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time to 2 p.m. And again, just kind of tried and true Wildwood content, trying to bring practitioners and reflection moments, as well as the education piece on the virtual format. So we're going to have we have Heidi Strickler returning, who's a dietitian that we've worked with several times in the past, talking about nutrition and REDS. And then we have Anna, who is a new, she's going to be kind of a mindset person. She works mostly in the volleyball world, but she's come highly recommended to both Marie and I through different people that we value in our community. So we're super excited to have her join our Wildwood list of presenters. And then Marie's going to do a girls talk, which will be awesome. I'm going to do a little bit of discussion around your why, and we're going to talk about goal setting a little bit. And then we really wanted to have, it's always great to have an athlete component. So we had Juliet, we've been involved with her really from the beginning of Wildwood, to be honest. She attended as an athlete our virtual camp when we first started it. And we didn't, at that point, we didn't know who she was. She couldn't attend one of the sessions. So she said, hey, I'm going to be at a meet. I can't attend. Can I get the recording? And then after her 4x8 team set the US best
U20 world record.
Wow.
Marie said, I think this girl's at our camp right now. And since then, it's just been this really amazing relationship where she's been involved with us, both virtually and in-person opportunities. She really has believed in and kind of lives our mission, which has been amazing. So she's going to join us. She's a junior at Stanford now, I believe.
Yeah, I watched her race last weekend.
Yeah, and then her sister Bella, I think, is a grad transfer to Arkansas. So she was at Penn,
Yeah.
more of a 400-meter specialist, but she actually ran a 202 in the 800
It's pretty fast.
indoors, which is pretty sweet. So I think it'll just be fun to hear the two of them together and about, growing up, their families, like their parents were both competitive track and field athletes, and how they balance the normalcy of it and staying, addressing the whole person, which I think is important to both of them, and how that's contributed to longevity in sport and what things they have faced as far as, comparison, all the different things that a lot of our young athletes can, face that we come in contact with through Wildwood.
I'd like to make an addendum here. That was a thing Moo that fell, not Ajay Wilson. Apologize.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, you're right. I was like, oh, maybe I got, you're right.
Yeah, no, I was wrong, but I wanted to
You
correct
were
that.
wrong, but you're right.
I'm right now. Okay, and you invited me to the Olympic trials with your team
Yeah.
camp, and I met Juliet,
Mhm.
and she's just, boy, she was wonderful. She had already made the team. She was very relaxed, and met with your camp twice that day as like she did the run with you guys, and then later spoke at your camp later that afternoon. She seems wonderful. Like she's gonna be. And then also my wife saw her do a class project in Stanford where she and her teammates did something. I think it was in Dutch. They spoke in, it was a,
Oh no way.
yeah, it was a Dutch class. And I could be wrong there too. And I'm gonna have to go back and apologize, but
Yeah.
it was a foreign language class where they like did a tour of Stanford, and I asked her about it, and she was very funny and sweet about it. So
Awesome. Yeah, she's a wonderful role model. I mean, we met with her at that run that you were at, and then with On Running, and then at the Runner Space House. And, we were like, if you need to leave at any time, go for it. And she's like, no, I want to be here. I want to be around these girls. Like, she's just such an amazing and wonderful person. And I think we feel really proud to know her. So, and I think that there are certain people that can make shifts in the sport, and I think she's one. And we haven't gotten to know her sister at all, but when we pitched this to her, we're like, it could be you, it could be a teammate or your sister, and she came back saying it was Bella. So I'm really excited to see that. They seem like just best of friends, so excited for that.
And how do they sign up for Sunday?
You can go to wildwoodrunning.org, and there's a page there for the girls workshop, virtual workshop, and then there's some tickets there. And coaches are welcome to join as well. It's just our messaging is it's with the lens that we're teaching to girls, because our conversations with coaches and girls are different. So we are focused on how we're presenting towards girls, but coaches are more than welcome to join as well.
I missed out on you guys. I retired from coaching right when you started this, and I coached both girls and boys.
Yeah.
And you may not know this, but I'm a boy, so I just, it was such a challenge for me. Our girls did really well, and I had some great girls teams, and I was very fortunate, but it was a bit of a mystery to me. I just didn't know. I had two daughters too, but that they were.
Which I'm sure gave you some insight that you didn't even realize you knew that you had, I think. And I think that, like, one of the things I've said to Marie sometimes is that even though I'm, a female bodied athlete, sometimes I would just assume that, and they would sometimes come to me to discuss these topics. But what we've learned through this is really how intentional you need to be in embedding this into your programs. I mean, you can talk about it, but then to actually reflect on it in your programs, to read information. And I wasn't doing that either. So I think it's just been an evolution for us coaches as well.
But I also think sorry to interrupt, Robyn, conversations are becoming normalized. Like the way we look at these conversations is different than they used to be. I was speaking this weekend at Boulder, and I was talking about how when I was in high school, my mom came up to me at the state meet, and she's like, Marie, all your competitors, their moms said that, like they lost their period. Have you lost your period? And I was mortified that my mom would be talking to me about my period, right?
Mm-hmm.
In 1995, I did not want to hear my mom use the word period. Now it's like my son uses, he's like, talk to me. I listened to one of your girls talk. He's 11 years old. I listened to one of your girls talks, and he was in the room, and he was like, can you tell me about a period? I was like, oh, buddy. Okay, here we go. So it's just like, I'm in a classroom setting talking to athletes about my period 30 years later, but I would not even talk to my mom about that. So I think that's part of what we're seeing as well.
That's wonderful. And you guys are certainly helping with that.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah,
Thank you,
it's been
Ken.
fun.
What are other events that you guys want to talk about that's coming up that we should be ready for?
I mean, I think we're really excited about our Wildwood Mile. The first year we started 2 years ago at Lewis and Clark College, and we had around 100 girls just running heats and heats of the mile. And then last year we had around 200 girls. I think this year will be 300 or 400 girls, and it's for everyone, right? So the first race is an open race. You might see a little girl on a Strider bike or in a stroller, 4-year-olds, 5-year-olds running hand in hand with their mom, like just such a cool. And then it gets faster and faster. Last year we had a group of girls trying to break 5 minutes in the mile, and like it's just a really cool, empowering event. By the end of the meet, the track is lined with girls and women just cheering each other on. Boys are absolutely welcome to come join and cheer and all that, but it's just kind of a cool event for that. So I think that's something we're really looking forward to in our overnight camp. Robyn, if you want to talk about that.
Yeah, we have our overnight camp is open now for registration for the 2 weeks. So we have June 23rd to the 27th is our normal 5-day camp. And then we've added a second 4-day option, June 30th to July 3rd. It's a little less expensive because it's 1 day less. But last year we had a little bit of a wait list. So we're excited to see how 2 1-week camps work. And then we have our Naperville in July 17th and 18th, I believe, which will be super fun. And then we also have February 5th, we have our fundraising event, kind of our annual, but we're doing an in-person fundraising event. We're doing both online and in person this year, which we've never really done. So that should be, and it's on National Girls and Women in Sports Day here in Portland. So we're excited to do something fun around that.
You guys
Yeah,
are
maybe you
busy.
can come, Ken. You should
Okay.
come.
The February 5th one?
Yeah.
February 5th
That's on a Wednesday?
on Wednesday night.
And where is
Look at
it?
you.
Or it's on my computer, right? I could be anywhere.
It's at the Canopy Hotel, which is kind of in the Pearl District a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fun.
Yeah.
Sounds like a great plan.
Yeah.
All right. So all these events are on your website. This weekend's event, Miles City, February 5th, summer camps.
Yep.
And then on your Instagram, if kids that live locally, you do have occasional Sunday and Saturday runs at
Yeah.
Leif Erikson. Kids can do that too. And,
Yeah, just follow along at Wildwood Running PDX, our Instagram, because we're constantly updating that with information and what's coming up for us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I know you guys are busy. It sounds like you're busy because there's so much going on here. And you've got merchandise that goes with your camp, and you guys got lots of stuff going on here, which is awesome. Do you have merchandise for the mile run in March?
We're working on it.
Working on it. So you're busy. You got stuff.
Yeah.
And is it at Lewis and Clark or Lincoln High School?
It'll be at Lincoln High School again. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, we've got people flying in this year. Like it's gonna
Whoa.
be fun. So Runner Space is gonna stream it live.
Whoa.
And then the night before, we're going to have an athlete panel that Runner Space will stream live as well. So it should be really fun.
Oh, this is an idea that started 5 years ago. Look at you guys now.
I know.
Thanks.
Well,
Ken.
thank you so much for coming. I sure appreciate it. And again, for everybody, follow on their website, follow on Instagram, and keep track of all the stuff that's happening, including this weekend with the Whitaker sisters.
Yeah.
And good luck and have a great track season.
Thank you. We'll see you out there.
I'll be out there.
Thank you, Ken.
You're welcome. Well, thank you to Marie and Robyn of Wildwood Running for joining us today on our episode. Please go to their website and their Instagram account, wildrunning.org is their website, and check out this weekend's event, and also events that are coming up later this spring and in the summer. And this weekend, our friend Adam is going to be at the Spokane meet, the high school meet that goes from Friday through Sunday. So please look for photos by early next week of the distance races up in Spokane. I'm going to stick around here in Portland this weekend and go to the University of Portland. University of Portland has an indoor track. It's pretty interesting track. It's kind of goes around the basketball arena they have there at the Child Center. It's kind of a cool little setup they have there. And they're going to have a meet with a lot of teams from the area here up in the Portland area. And I'll have that gallery up also soon afterwards. That's on Sunday. So look for those. And again, if you can follow us on YouTube, that'd be awesome. And also if you can follow us on Apple Podcast and Spotify. Until next time, West Coast is the best coast.